Welcome to the July 16th virtual workshop for the FY26 festivals and special events request for proposals for funding. A little bit about our program. I am pleased to tell you that we have been appropriated $400,000 to grant to organizations who will be producing festivals and events between July 1, 2025, so 2 weeks ago, and December 31st, 2026. That is an 18-month cycle. So it is technically possible for you to apply for an event that has already happened in the first 2 weeks of July. We do this 18-month cycle to give as much flexibility to event producing organizations, so that you can decide when this funding is best for you. Let me get to the right slide. I'm not at the right slide. Okay. There we go. All right. Our festivals and special events. This is not working. This is the mission statement. Sorry about that pause there. This is sort of the mission statement or the guiding statement for the Durham Cultural Advisory Board, which is a city council and county commission appointed board. These are the individuals who advise the city council and the county commissioners on cultural and public art, funding issues, policy issues, anything that has to do with arts that it comes to question from our elected leaders. The members of this board are the individuals who will be reviewing your proposals. They follow a strict conflict of interest policy, which is available for you to read through the RFP, as well as I believe from our website. During this presentation, I'm not going to read slides to you. I know y'all can read. And most of what I'm presenting is also in the RFP document. Our agenda tonight, first and foremost, I believe I may have a colleague on this call from our finance department to talk about the Equal Business Opportunity Program. If not, I will talk about it. Then we will talk about eligibility issues, our timeline. We're going to spend the majority of our time talking about the documents that you need to prepare for the proposal. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on eligibility and timeline because you already have that information. But just to give you an idea of what we are going to do tonight. Sydney Anderson, are you here? He is not. Okay, I'm going to talk about the EBOP form. The Equal Business Opportunity Program is a required program of most local governments. And this form that I am reviewing is something that is new to this year's proposal. So for those of you who have applied before, this is a required attachment. I have, with permission from our colleagues at Equal Business Opportunity Program, which again is also shortened to EBOP in city speak, I have been granted permission to adapt this form to your needs. Typically with calls for proposals or bids to the city, there are goals set by this program for subcontractors to represent underserved or underrepresented businesses, predominantly minority businesses, persons of color, and women-owned businesses. We do not have those goals set for this proposal. However, this form is required regardless. I have gone in and edited the form so that the only sections that applicants need to fill out is the very top with the name of your organization and your signature and your date. This form is also linked within the application portal if you forget. Should you want to report businesses that are owned by persons of color and businesses that are women owned, there are also links to the unadulterated form, and you may fill those out as well. Please do not forget to submit this form. Applications without this form are considered non-compliant. All right, back to our regular scheduled agenda. Throughout this proposal or throughout this presentation, we'll come to slides that will be title slides. If you have questions at that time, please feel free to speak. Please know that I cannot see everybody that is on this call, so you're going to have to just jump out and speak. I will pause and ask for questions at each section. First and foremost, eligibility. Applicants must be a not-for-profit entity that is in good standing with both the IRS and our North Carolina Secretary of State's office. That does not mean that if you are not a nonprofit, you cannot apply. What it does mean is that you need to develop a relationship with a nonprofit who can act as a fiscal agent. Please know that I am available to advise you on this, at least from a standpoint of how you might find partners. We have some folks on this call who lead organizations that have served as fiscal agents in the past, but we cannot, as a city, contract with an individual. We need to contract with a 501c3 nonprofit for this purpose. Again, I'm not going to read these things to you, but these are in your RFP documents so that you can look at them. They are fairly standard for grants to nonprofits. The big ones, the event needs to take place within Durham County. It can be city or county, but we will not fund events outside of Durham. Some highlights as far as things that we do not fund and some changes that have been made in this proposal. If you are representing an organization that is requesting funding for a sporting or athletic event or any non-arts focused event, your proposal needs to show a demonstrated link and a demonstrated focus on the artistic and cultural activity. And please know that your budget, your request, needs to be focused on the funds you need for that demonstrated artistic and cultural activity. In the past, this other highlighted line down here about related to trade shows. We have worked with our city attorney's office and our purchasing department to clarify that if your event is focused on providing training or professional development for artists and other creatives, that is not prohibited by this clause. In the past, it has been interpreted differently, but we are now able to fund events that are specifically for the professional development of creative people. And finally, a reminder that the city funds cannot support hospitality in your program. So when you are presenting your budget in your grant, please remember to not request funding for food and drink, um, lodging for participants. We will fund lodging for, I believe we will fund lodging for our visiting artists as a part of their compensation, but we will not fund general hospitality at your event. It is always a wise idea to check the strategic plan of the organization that you are requesting money for. We have that linked here. It is also linked in your RFP. It is very easy to find on the city's website. And these other bullets are just general recommendations as you would understand, or requirements as you would understand the RFP, and making your application as clear as possible. Okay. Once we get through the application process and the review process, we will enter what is called the contracting process. If you are awarded funding, you will need to provide evidence of insurance. You will need to complete all of the required forms that are in the application document itself. If those forms are not in the document, with the exception of the EBOP form, your proposal will be considered, but we must have those documents upon award. And we cannot move into a contracting phase without your charitable solicitation license, your demographic information, your budget, all of those types of things. All contracts need to be signed by awarded organizations and returned to the Cultural and Public Art Program by November 10th. All right, I'm at a pause. Are there any questions about eligibility?
I have a question.
Yeah, Joy.
One of the one it said something that could not be funded. If it was something that was solely a fundraiser, can
Correct.
you
So, yeah, we are fairly loose with that from the standpoint of, we all know that, I mean, the Eno Festival is a longtime city supported event. We know that any funds generated from that festival beyond what the festival costs will go to support the Eno River Association, but it is not solely a fundraising event. In other words, if you were to apply for money to host a private fundraising event, a black tie event, those types of things, we would not do that. If it is an event, even if it is ticketed but open to the public and there's fundraising going on, we will consider those applications. Does that help?
that helps?
Any other questions? Hearing none, I will move on.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
have my hand up. Yeah. I have two questions. One is, if we are co-hosting with the city with Parks and Recs, are we still eligible?
Possibly, yes. I would need to learn more, and I would recommend that you put your question in writing to the email, and I can, it is dcab@durhamnc.gov.
Okay, Got that. And also, if the event is happening before the deadline for submission, is that also, does
Yes,
that also, okay.
this
Okay.
this this particular RFP's funding cycle will cover events that take place between July 1, 2025, so 2 weeks ago, and
Mhm.
December 31st, 2026. So it's an
Just
18-month funding cycle.
great. Thank you. So I'll follow up with the other question. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you, Amelia. Okay, we're going to timeline. And obviously the application is open. We are at workshop session 2 right now. I have 5 business days of office hours that are available for sign up. That link is on the website. It is also in the RFP. If you, for any reason, would like to spend 30 minutes with me, I can, look at your draft. I can answer questions, anything. I am wide open, but please feel free to sign up. Do not let questions go unanswered. If these office hours are not convenient and you really need a 30-minute time, please send an email to the DCAB email address, dcab@durhamnc.gov, and we'll figure something out. I'm happy to meet in the evenings as well. The deadline to submit written questions, and this is something that is rarely taken advantage of, but can really help everybody. If I receive questions in writing and the questions that are asked during these workshops, which is why I'm recording it, I produce what is called an addendum to the RFP. So anything that I receive in writing, I will answer in writing directly, and I will also publish that question and its answer in this addendum so that all applicants can read that. And when I publish that addendum, if you have a draft active and submittable, you will receive a message from me about that. Deadline. All proposals must be submitted. You must hit that submit button in submittable, the application, no later than 11:59 on Monday, August 11th, 2025. The application will close. You will not be able to access it after that. Submittable will send a confirmation email once you hit your submit button. If you wake up on Tuesday, August 12th and you don't have an email, please call me. Let's figure it out. Or email me. So after August 11th, I do some initial staff review on the proposals, make sure that required documents are there, make notes for reviewers, and then by August 15th at the latest, I release those applications to DCAB members for review. A quick sidebar on conflict of interest. When I receive the applications on August 11th, the first thing I do is I publish a list of applications to all members of the Durham Cultural Advisory Board. Every member has in their oath sworn to uphold conflict of interest policies. If they have any relationship to the applicant organization, or if the organization is a fiscal agent to the festival producer that is working with the fiscal agent, that is to be stated in writing to me within 48 hours of receiving that application. And our board members know this. What we do from that point is, if that conflict does indeed exist, that individual board member will not receive access to that proposal from that organization where that conflict exists. They won't be able to read it. They won't be able to score it. And during our meetings to review the proposals as a board, they will not be able to be in the room during the conversation. So they will be excused from the meeting for the duration of a conversation where their conflict exists. They will not be able to advocate or speak in any way. These meetings are public and they will be posted with times on the website. You'll notice that I've crossed out the original dates on DCAB proposal review meetings. We have already, it's already indicated that we are going to receive a lot of proposals this year by virtue of the number of drafts that have already been started. So the Durham Cultural Advisory Board decided at their meeting this afternoon that they are going to give themselves an additional week for proposal review. So once I have times and confirmed dates for those meetings, I will publish them on the website and with instructions on how you can notify us if you would like to observe the DCAB review process. They will likely be on September 3rd and 10th. Once those meetings occur, I have a memo that I send to my department director, who then sends it to the city manager for approval. Any grant that is made at a level of $50,000 or above must go before city council, and that will take a different and longer timeline than our standard timeline. I will say it is rare for us to take funding requests to city council. Last year, we granted 22 applications. The highest was around 43,000, and the smallest was a little under 7,000. Our average grant size is about 18,000. Once the city manager approves the recommendations of Durham Cultural Advisory Board, I will send notification letters to all applicants. With those notification letters to all applicants, whether you receive funding or not, you will be invited to sign up for another round of office hours. For those who receive the funding, those office hours can help you work through the contracting process. For those whose proposals were not recommended for funding, we can set up some time where I can talk to you about your specific proposal, and the panel review process and what feedback the Durham Cultural Advisory Board has for you. So contracting will take place during the month of October. All awarded organizations should have contracts in hand for signature by the end of October and must return those contracts back to me with their signatures by November 10th. Any questions on timeline? Okay, let's get into the meat of this. So you have 3 links on the website that I'm sure you've seen. One of them is to the actual request for proposals document, chock full of information. A lot of it you're hearing today. Some of it you're not. You will see sample contracts in there. You will see the template that is in the application form itself for the budget form, all of those types of things. All of your application work will be done in Submittable. Submittable is a fairly intuitive application to use. It's fairly easy to learn. The company that manages Submittable has some of the best technical support I know of. They have lots of articles and little videos and that kind of stuff for learning about how to use the software. And the other document that is available on the website is the review criteria And this photograph that I'm circling right now, this is what DCAB reviewers see when they look at your application. They have a review form that they fill out looking at how well you described your goals. I encourage them to provide as many comments as possible so that I can provide feedback to every applicant. I'm going to just go on through to proposal form and attachments. Okay, your proposal form is in submittable. That form is required for the grant. We have 7 opportunities for attachments. The first 6 are all required. These forms are, some of them are fairly standard, like your IRS tax determination form, your charitable solicitation license from the Secretary of State's office. And then the last 4 are forms that the city requires and is required. You are required by law or by general statute for the state. We have to have them. Please know that the demographic forms that are included in this proposal and are required do not weigh into any part of the decision-making of funding. We are required to collect this data, but they are not used for the purposes of making any funding decisions. Attachment 7, actually, I think I have 5 different opportunities within attachment 7 or 5 different upload opportunities. This is your opportunity, attachment 7, to include letters of support, documents that demonstrate your ability to produce events if you are a new applicant, if you are a previous applicant who's reapplying, great reviews, marketing materials, those types of things. Anything that you think is going to boost your application, you are welcome to share with us. It's your opportunity to show off. The first narrative section that you will find on the proposal is the event description. Very simple to who, what, where, when, how, why, all of those types of things. It's just a brief synopsis of what you want us to fund. For previous applicants, I have greatly reduced the character limits in these areas. Please know, character limits include spaces. It's probably best for you to draft your narrative sections in a word processing document so that you can count characters and spaces. I know Google Docs does that and Word does that. But I would just be mindful of those text limitations so that you don't copy and paste something into submittable and it truncates the end of your text. The Durham Cultural Advisory Board sets 5 goals for this program. These goals have not changed from last year, which was a major reworking of the goals. So the first, and your narrative is going to be broken into these goals. So you're going to write your narrative demonstrating how your event succeeds or addresses this particular goal. These bulleted statements you will see in several different places in the RFP document, in the application itself. You are not required to meet all of these bullet statements. These are opportunities or prompts for you from a standpoint of how your event meets the goal of encouraging engagement with arts, history, or culture. So please know that for each goal, you are not required to meet every bullet statement. They are just prompts for you to consider. Goal number 2, supports festivals and events with significant economic impact. The word significant is relative. All events will produce some kind of economic impact. You are likely buying goods to produce your event, renting equipment to produce your event, renting a venue possibly, and definitely paying artists. So any event is going to have an economic impact that is significant based upon the size of that event. I say that to alleviate folks' worry about some of the really, really big events that go on in Durham that are funded through this program. We have funded Full Frame Film Festival for many years. We fund American Dance Festival. These are very, very large budgeted events that have a significant economic impact relative to their significant event budgets. We also fund the Durham Central Park monthly concerts in the summertime, which are smaller events, still have a very significant economic impact based when relative to the budget for those events. Goal 3 is supporting innovation and events that are creating vibrancy for our community. These funds that are received through the festivals and events, special events grant program, are funds that our residents of Durham, our neighbors, are providing through their taxes. These are not funds that are coming from the federal government or the state government. So we really want our community, our residents, each of us, to be able to reap the benefit of these events. Goal 4, promoting equity, diversity, inclusion, access, and accessibility. And I know there are some people in this country who consider all of those words bad. In Durham, we consider them very, very important. This is your opportunity to talk about your audience and how you are serving your audience and what your audience reflects of Durham. It is also the opportunity for talking about how you are serving persons with disabilities or persons who are often not included in city events for any reason. This is your opportunity to shine on how you reach our community, all of us. And finally, goal 5, demonstrates organizational efficiency and effectiveness. This is for direct applicants, nonprofit organizations. This is your opportunity to tell us why you are so good at what you're doing. For those of you who are working with fiscal agents, use some of this space, not so much to talk about your fiscal agent, although that's important that they be in good standing, but also to give the panel the opportunity to understand how you are ready to take on the role of coordinating this event and what skills and experience you bring to this event management process. New this year, the budget form for the grant is embedded in the application in Submittable. In past years, budgets have been, we have recommended a format for budgets and asked you to upload your event budget. This year, we are putting a format in there so that we can make sure that we are not encouraging any unintended bias from our reviewers. When budgets come in a variety of formats, it's very hard to be considerate of the applicant if the budget format is difficult to understand. So by creating a unified format, all of our reviewers will be able to look at your numbers and they will look the same as the next application that they review. So there is less of a chance of unintended bias.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
If we're applying as an organization with a fiscal sponsor, should the fiscal sponsor be the organization name that's applied under and our event is listed as like a project of that org, or should it be the other way around where we apply but we mention in that question you just listed that like we provide those talk text documents and mention
So
them in the proposal?
if you are applying through a fiscal agent, the fiscal agent must be the applicant organization. And the fiscal agent will actually be the organization that is contracted by the city.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, your fiscal agent will need to actually be the applicant itself. But you should be creating that narrative
Mm-hmm.
so that it speaks to, you know, the resilience of the organization and the business acumen of that organization from a nonprofit standpoint, but also speaks to your strengths as an event producer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so the org is the event producer, but it is with the application, the fiscal sponsor is the organization, and the subgroup is
Is the
the
event.
producer.
Mhm.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
I have a question. And Annette, your audio's going in and out. Yeah. Might be for real loud. I've been pausing a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, I can hear you now. That was clear. I just heard you say it.
All right. Great. Thank you for letting me know. I just had a pop-up that said my internet connection was unstable. So hopefully that won't happen again. All right. Do you have another question,
Oh,
Tyra?
I didn't hear your answer to the question. I never heard that.
I didn't hear your
Oh,
question.
got you. So, if we are producing multiple events, do one
Mhm.
application, like, do we have to pick and choose what we want funding for, or can we include multiple things in the application, or do we do separate applications? Is that allowed?
Separate applications are allowed, and honestly, I would prefer that.
Okay.
Um, just so that we can have a real clear picture of each event.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other
Yes.
questions?
Follow-up question to that one.
Yeah.
If the events are similar in nature and just on different days, should
That
those
is,
be separate events?
you can combine those if so we fund both event series, as I've mentioned, like Durham Central Park. We fund Book Harvest. They do two major events. One is the book drive in the, I think it's in February, and the second one is the block party that they're doing this weekend at the DBAP. They combined both of those events into one proposal. So it is your choice. If it makes sense, if the proposal reads logically and you want to combine a couple different dates into a proposal, that is absolutely fine. If the events are really different, and Tyra, I'm going to use Hayti Heritage Center as an example. Last year, they proposed for continued funding for the Hayti Heritage Film Festival, and they also requested funding for the 50th anniversary celebration that is coming up in the end of August. Those are two very, very different programs, and it would have been very confusing to try and and lump them together. It would have been confusing for the readers.
Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure of. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, now on to attachments. IRS determination letter. I don't have a whole lot to say about that. If you cannot find your determination letter, the IRS link is available in both the application as well as the RFP. Oops. I have charitable solicitation license. This is absolutely essential to enter into a contract with the city of Durham. The charitable solicitation license must be renewed annually. So please check with the Secretary of State's office. You will find these web links everywhere about whether or not your charitable solicitation license is up to date. If it is not, please start the renewal process now. If you are a small organization and you're raising less than $50,000 a year, you qualify for an exemption to a charitable solicitation license. That means that you need to request that exemption and produce the letter of exemption from the Secretary of State's office. The Secretary of State's office is kind of slow. And if you're just checking on those documents now, you may not have them in time to submit them with your application. Don't panic. Just upload a document that states that you are in the process of renewing your charitable solicitation license or receiving your letter of exemption, and we'll go from there. We do need to have that license by the time we go finalize the contract. Organization, board, and staff demographics. Again, we do not use this information to make funding decisions, but it is very helpful in reporting to our elected board members about who we are funding and the composition of their boards and their staff. It is not used to make any decisions whatsoever at all. Contractor workforce diversity questionnaire. This questionnaire is required for the contract to go through. This is a multi-page document. It is very important that you complete the whole document, including the table at the end of the document. There are two tables. There are 2 pages of tables. If you are a singular nonprofit, you only need to fill out the first table. If you are a nonprofit that is part of a larger organization, you need to fill out both tables, the individual table that reflects your program and the larger table for the larger organization. Examples of this would be a program at North Carolina Central University. The jazz program is applying for a grant. They would fill out both tables. They would fill out the first table for their program, their specific program, and the second table would have the demographics of the entire university. This is the same slide you saw at the beginning. If I would stop clicking. Again, it's very simple to fill out. Please don't skip it. It is required for your proposal to be considered complete for review. The non-collusion affidavit, another required document. This document requires notarization. The city does not accept electronic notarization. I recommend that you print this document out and take it to a bank or to another organization that has notary publics and get this document signed and notarized sooner rather than later, so that you don't have the panic of, oh my God, I forgot to do this on August 11th. And finally, attachment 7, as I mentioned, are the support materials. There are five buckets that you can upload to. These can be photographs, videos, news articles, letters of support, marketing campaigns, whatever you think helps make the case for your proposal. Any questions on proposal form and attachment? All right, submissions. We only accept proposals submitted through Submittable. Please don't come by or email, bring me an envelope of materials or send me an email with your proposal narratives. It will not be accepted. I remind you, the questions for the addendum, Friday, July 25th, 2025. Please know that I am checking my inbox for your questions daily, multiple times daily. This is my contact information. There's the dcab@durhamnc.gov email that I have mentioned several times. And again, there's the link to Submittable. Again, the suggestion of drafting in a word processing application so that you can make sure that you are meeting your character limits before you start dropping them into Submittable. And that's all I got for you folks. Any questions? Wow, I've either left you all so horribly confused or I've done a really good job.
No, hi, Annette. I have a question. I checked on your office hours and you said that you only want us to book through the 25th. Is that right? For questions
No,
for the art?
it starts on July 30th and runs
Okay.
August 5th.
I just wanted to make sure I was scheduling the right block on your
Yep.
calendar. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Terrific. And what I do when I receive those bookings is I respond back with a Zoom link.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question. So when and where can we find this video?
I will be posting the video hopefully tomorrow. And it will be on the same website where you can download the festivals and special events request, or the actual publication, and the links to the application form. So it'll all be on the same web page. I can also, if y'all would like, I will be sending out an email to all of you. And I'll notify you when the video is available, as well as I'll provide a PDF format of the slide presentation.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I thank you all for taking some time this evening. And I thank you for your interest in our program. I am here to support and help please don't hesitate to email, call, sign up for office hours. I'm really happy to provide whatever support I can. And I appreciate what you do for our community and for our artists. Thank you so much.